Hello there! The first few moves in backgammon are really important, and there are a lot of general concepts that will help you play them almost to perfection. In today's video I'm playing the first 3 moves of a game for both sides while analyzing them, then checking the computer analysis, and then doing the same thing over and over again. This will really help you learn the general ideas in the backgammon opening, and you will certainly learn something very good in this video. So let's get going!
The tension, the drama, the swings, backgammon. There is nothing like it. In this channel, you'll find all kinds of content related to backgammon strategy, as well as vlogs from tournaments and more. The Kalinator welcomes you. Have fun and enjoy.
So I'm going to assume we're playing unlimited games, money game. I'm gonna mention when there is a cube position, although I'm not gonna pass a cube. And let's get going with the first game. So that's a 6-4, which the perfectly best move is split with 6 and bring a checker down with a 4. Let's see what will be white's roll. 4-1 for white. As an opening reply, when there is a hit on the bar point, they will hit with 1. And then with a 4 you have the following rule after hitting. If your checkers on the midpoint are 5, you will bring a checker down to unstack. If however your checkers on the midpoint are 4, then you will split the back checkers. So in this case you will bring the 4 down, but if you had hit with a 6 instead, then you would have split with the 4 here. Now let's see black's roll. That's a 5-1. What you see is that you can enter with a 5 or with a 1, but there's a problem, and that's white structure there. Meaning if I enter with a 5, there are many rolls that white will point on head on me. So in general, you like not to be in front of that kind of structure. However, now I'm actually not sure. It might be correct that you enter with the 5, but the bigger problem is that you would have to play the 1 here. So both of these concepts mean that it's probably best to just enter with the 1 and bring a checker down with the 5. I hope this is not a blunder. Now let's see white's roll. This will be 5-3, and this is again another tricky move which I'm not so sure about, because white has this option to make the point, which is good enough, and they also have the option to hit. And again, as a general rule, you do prefer hitting in the opening game over making a point or something like that. So in general, hitting in the opening game is better, so I'm going to stay with hitting this time, and again I'm not sure. 5-3 for black, and this is another interesting one. So once again white has the very good structure there attacking, meaning that it's good if we hit. So that's what we call a tempo hit. We will enter with the 3 and we will hit the checker on the ace point. By doing this, white will have to use one of his numbers to enter, and they will not be able to make a valuable point in their home board, which otherwise they would. If we don't hit, then they have many numbers that make a point in here, or even a point on head. So this is for sure black's move. Now I'm going to roll the last move of this game. That's a double 4 for black, for white. So first one is forced, entering. This one you can't look for. If you don't hit, you leave him a double shot, which means that probably you will hit, because then it's a few less shots. And then you have another 2 to play. You don't want to make the inside point, because this is really losing control of the outfield. So this is why you just bring 2 down, make another good point, and now white has a very good priming structure. If they are missed, they can make the 3-point or they can make the 5-point with a good number, and then white is already in a good priming position. So that's it for the first game. Now I'm going back to the opening position and playing another. This is a very good opportunity to have a short break, and let me mention that the world record for most countries visited inside 24 hours by only public transportation is 13. And I know this is a bit off topic, but it goes on topic when I mention that I, myself, have created an itinerary to make a record for 14 countries in 24 hours. And right now I'm raising the money that will cost, that is 916 euro. So if you would like to support this journey, scan this QR code or push the link in the description. This will be really appreciated, because this new adventure of mine is something I would really like to make, and making it possible would be amazing. Thank you, but now let's get back to backgammon openings and let's play another set of 3-move games. Let's do it again. Again, I start for the black, and I can't start with doubles, so I'm going to roll again. That's 6-2 for black, split with the 6 and bring the checker down with the 2. This is the auto move. And by the way, if you don't know the opening moves, you can always check the link right over here, and there you will see the video of all the opening moves. Now let's see white's first row in this game. It's a 3-1. Okay, so with a 3-1 you can hit, but it is not correct to hit. Now you have to remember the following. With 3-1 against this checker here, you don't hit, you make the point. With 4-2 you hit. This is because the 5-point is more important than the 4-point that you could make with a 4-2. So with 3-1 you make the point, with 4-2 you hit. So now black's second move, 6-5. What we see is that the 6 should be automatic to make the very strong bar point anchor, and then with a 5 you certainly don't want to stack, so you will play the 5 down. This was black's move. Now white's move, which is move number 2, that's a 6-1. What we see is we have 2 options for the 6. That's one, and that's the other. So I really don't want to put a checker on my deuce point and lose my 8-point, which is not very good, but it's still a good connection in there, which means that this will be the 6 for white. And then for the 1 again, you have, this is not, doesn't gain anything, so you will just play 6-5. That way you have a better chance of making a point soon, and you might also end up hitting black, and then you certainly do want your checkers to not be like that, but instead to be like that. So that was white's second move. Now black's third move, 3-1. Well, what we see is black can hit, but if they hit, then they play with a lot of blood. Black can also make the 5-point, which is normally good. Maybe I need to check the raise on this one. So black played opening 6-2, that's 8, and then 4, and 11, 15, and then white played a 6-1, 15 minus 7, 8 plus 4, that's, black is 12 ahead, meaning that they don't want to give shot. And then there is only this one as an option. That's what I think. Although, wait, they could also hit like that, then they only give 1 blot, but I don't think it's necessary for black to hit when they are 12 pips up in the race. Now white's last row of this game is a double 5. That means that black is no longer up in the race. This one is blocked. You will automatically save this one, that's 1. Then you will automatically play this one, that's 2. And then you will just left with this over here for the 4. So that was it for the second game. It was kind of easy compared to the first one. Let's also mention that if you like this World Backgammon Federation board and would like to get yours, you can send an email to Bernhard Meyer at wbif@gmx.net. I'm very thankful to Bernhard for sponsoring me this beautiful board. And yeah, if you like it, just send him an email, he'll get you yours. Now let's get going with another game. With a 4-3 to start for black, the best move is bring 2 checkers down. Let's see white's opening reply there. I said I'm not gonna play on tone checker, although it doesn't matter. 5-3, you automatically hit, because hitting is much better than making a point. You gain 16 pips in the race, so this is really important. Now black's second move, 6-4, you're forced to enter with the 4. Now what you see as sixes, you could bring the 6 in here, but it doesn't gain a lot. You could come out, but it gives a double additional shot. Or you could come out with the back checker. That way you give him a shot with a 1, but a 1 already hits here, meaning it's duplicated. And the 6, okay, you give the 6, but you have to give something additional anyway. So that way you gain a lot, and if you are missed, you could actually make a strong anchor the bar point, or even just with, if you're hit, you could just make the 4 point. So this was black's second move. Let's go with white's second move. It's a 6-4 again, which should be an automatic double hit. Hit with 6 and hit inside with a 4. This is very, very strong. First of all, it fights for the 4 point, and that's one of the most important points. So black will very often miss this checker here, and then white will have a very good chance of making the 4 point, or making the 5 point with another number, or with some doubles they could make both the 4 and 5 points. On top of that, putting 2 of black's checkers on the bar means that unless black rolls doubles, they will not be able to use their numbers for anything but entering, and you also give them an almost 3% chance to dance completely, and in another 30% of the time they will just be able to enter with 1 checker. So putting 2 on the bar is usually very strong. Now let's roll for black. That's a 2-6, meaning it's forced to enter with the 2. And while I said there is no cube, it would probably be a cube in this position for white already. But anyway, let's roll, and this is white's third roll and the last of this game, which is a 3-5. That's an interesting one. Actually, I might go with making the ace point. Again, putting 2 on the bar is very strong, even when you have to give up the chance of making your 4 point. Although, okay, if you cover with the 3, then you would have to still no. Then you could bring this for a 5, but I don't think this is useless because it gives black the chance to play. So in this case, I'll go with putting 2 on the bar. I really have to say that putting 2 on the bar is extremely strong. So if you're a beginner, you might actually underrate this, because what you see here is black will enter with doubles 4 times out of 36, and then they'll be able to play their numbers. But otherwise, they will either dance in 9% of the time now, and if they don't, they can just enter and do nothing else. So that's why I put 2 on the bar here, even if it is for losing the chance of making my 4 point for now. I can always make it later. I have a few numbers that make it on the next roll. That's 2-3, 4-3, and 4-2. Double 2 also, and double 4-2. So there were enough numbers anyway. I think that's enough games for today's video, and if you liked it, make sure to let me know, because in that case I would make a few more of these kind of videos. They are endless, so I could do as many of them as I like. So yeah, that's it for today, and I'm gonna see you next time.